In the history of Formula One, few stories capture the raw drama, skill, controversy, and emotion quite like Max Verstappen's journey to his first World Championship in 2021. It was a season that redefined modern Formula One, a gladiatorial contest between two titans. The young, fearless Max Verstappen and the seven-time world champion, Lewis Hamilton. What unfolded was not just a championship battle. It was a seismic collision of generations, philosophies, and driving styles. His aggressive, instinctive style, sometimes bordering on reckless, caught the attention of Red Bull's motorsport advisor Helmut Marko at just 16 years old. Max was signed to the Red Bull Junior team. It was about aggression versus precision, instinct versus experience. And by the end of it, fans were left stunned not just by who won, but how it happened. Maximilian Verstappen was born on September 30th, 1997, into a family that lived and breathed team principles. Christian Horner and Toto Wolff became media personalities themselves, sparring verbally almost as much as their drivers battled on track. His father, Jos Verstappen, had competed in Formula One during the 1990s. Formula One had not seen drama like this in years. At Silverstone, the impact was physical and symbolic. S win after the crash with Verstappen was one of the most debated moments in modern F1 history. At Monza, the image of Verstappen's Red Bull perched atop Hamilton's Mercedes captured the season's intensity. Each race added another layer to this already intense story. The opening round in Bahrain set the tone, with a tight duel that saw Hamilton narrowly hold off a charging Verstappen. The sport knew it had reached a tipping point, but the full context of the season shows this was no fluke. The torch was being passed. He had waited his whole life for this moment, and though it arrived in a storm of debate, no one could deny the quality of his season. Verstappen had earned every point, every podium, every victory. His style is calculated. He manages tires, anticipates strategies, and attacks only when necessary. Verstappen, on the other hand, is pure racing instinct. He races with the ferocity of someone who only knows one direction. Their contrast made the rivalry legendary. Meanwhile, Mercedes developed a clever rear suspension that lowered the rear of the car on straights, improving straight-line speed. Mercedes' James Vowles and Peter Bonington showed nerves of steel throughout the season. He had stood toe-to-toe with a legend and prevailed. Netflix's Drive to Survive had already brought a new audience to the sport, but the real drama of 2021 cemented its appeal. Races in Imola, Monaco, and Baku brought highs and lows. In the UK, Hamilton's supporters rallied around him like never before. In neutral countries, fans simply watched him. Verstappen was more introverted, blunt, focused only on racing. In many ways, he represented a new breed of driver, one raised on simulators, data, and karting every weekend of his life. Fernando Alonso, who'd raced against both drivers, said, "They're both animals behind the wheel, just different species." It pushed the FIA to restructure, introducing a virtual race control room and clearer communication protocols. Crashes, tire blowouts, and strategic gambles turned every weekend into a thriller. The two couldn't have been more different. Hamilton, already a seven-time world champion, carried the poise and polish of a veteran. Then came the swing through the Americas, and a tense showdown in Brazil that saw Hamilton produce one of the greatest drives of his career to keep his title hopes alive. And even as debates continue over that final lap in Abu Dhabi, one truth remains undeniable: Verstappen was the firebrand challenger, bold, aggressive, and fearless. It wasn't gifted, nor was it luck alone. It was forged through relentless speed, unmatched tenacity, and the unwavering belief that he belonged at the very top. His rise marked a generational shift in Formula One and set the tone for rivalries to come. Hamilton, ever the gentleman, congratulated Verstappen and later said, "We'll come back stronger." For the fans, it was a reminder of why we love racing. For the sport, it was a rebirth. And for Max Verstappen, it was destiny fulfilled. Toto Wolff called the final race a freestyle interpretation of the rules. The FIA launched a full investigation into the handling of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It reminded fans of why they fell in love with racing in the first place: the unpredictability, the raw emotion, and the human stories behind the helmets. Michael Massey, the race director, faced widespread criticism. The results stood, but the scrutiny it brought changed the sport forever. In early 2000s, while his mother, Sophie Kumpen, was a successful karting driver in her own right. From the beginning, Max's life was intertwined with racing. He wasn't just a prodigy, he was bred for greatness. From karting circuits across Europe to Formula 3, Verstappen's rise through the ranks was Critics argued it was too soon. Formula One was a world for seasoned professionals, not teenagers. But Max silenced the doubters quickly. In 2015, at the Australian Grand Prix, he became the youngest driver ever to race in Formula One, just 17 years and 166 days old. A year later in Spain, he was promoted to the senior Red Bull team and won his first Grand Prix after a dramatic crash between the two Mercedes drivers. What followed were years of learning, maturing, and refining his raw talent. The 2021 season wasn't just the story of a fast driver, it was the story of a fast driver who had grown into a complete racer. The 2021 Formula One season was, and just defined by Max Verstappen's result, was shaped by his rivalry with Lewis Hamilton. Every race felt like a heavyweight bout. The tension wasn't confined to the track, it spilled into press conferences, team radios, and the garage walls. The two collided multiple times, both literally and figuratively. From Bahrain to Abu Dhabi, the rivalry escalated. Fans took sides. Social media exploded. Former drivers, team officials, and pundits weighed in with contrasting views. To truly understand the scale of Max Verstappen's achievement, we must look closely at each round of the 2021 season. With a title on the line, will be dissected for decades. The triple header in France and Austria showcased Verstappen's dominance, while the chaos at Silverstone, Hungary, and Monza threatened to derail his campaign. Jeddah was chaos, the final lap of the final race. What followed was almost unprecedented. The way races are officiated, how communication happens between teams and stewards, and the role of the race director, everything was restructured in the months that followed. Amidst the controversy, Verstappen carried himself with a blend of pride and focus. His championship signaled the arrival of a new generation. It was not just about Max Charles Leclerc, George Russell, and Lando Norris were rising stars. To understand the magnitude of Verstappen's accomplishment, one must compare the two protagonists not just in speed, but in style, mindset, and legacy. Hamilton, the polished ambassador of Formula One, has often spoken about equality, diversity, and sustainability. Off-track, Hamilton carried the weight of global recognition, often the face of the sport in interviews and brand campaigns. In 2021, the clash wasn't just about a JIT, it was about legacy versus hunger, and the result forced the sport to adapt to both. While the drivers captured the limelight, the 2021 season was also a battle of engineering brilliance. Red Bull and Mercedes pushed the boundaries of technology. Red Bull's RB16B, an evolution of their 2020 car, had incredible rear-end stability, essential for Verstappen's aggressive driving. Strategists played a key role. Hannah Schmitz from Red Bull became a hero for her call in Abu Dhabi. Every pit stop, every tire call, every undercut mattered. And for the first time in years, Mercedes had a real fight on their hands. The Verstappen-Hamilton title fight reinvigorated Formula One. Global interest surged. Viewership records were broken. Social media engagement hit all-time highs. In the Netherlands, Verstappen's success led to a boom in karting. Orange flares became a staple of every Grand Prix. The season sparked debates about fairness, safety, and the role of race direction. It also redefined how sports can be both entertainment and competition, sometimes messily intertwined. Many insiders weighed in after the season. Sebastian Vettel called it the best season in years. Christian Horner declared it the greatest achievement in Red Bull's history. The drivers themselves were more reserved. Verstappen said, "We raced hard. We gave everything. I'm proud of how we fought." And he did. But 2021 was Max's moment. Max Verstappen's 2021 World Championship was more than a personal triumph. It was a transformation of Formula One. The Dutch prodigy had become a global superstar. The sport had witnessed a passing of the torch. Max Verstappen earned his place among the greats. In the end, Max Verstappen's 2021 championship was not merely a victory, it was a statement that a new era had arrived. As we look back, the controversies will remain a footnote, but the brilliance of Verstappen's drive throughout the year will stand the test of time. Thank you for watching.